Hello my friends. My name is Bot Mathematician and this is Holomancer.
Also, Chief Investigative Reporter Dora joined us this evening.
Gadgets and Gazette always gets the scoop. It's been a month since the release of Perils in Paradise and I have a feeling that something is wrong with the new legendary cards. I think it's important to go back to the analysis of the cards to establish the truth.
In this video, you'll see how your collection's utility has changed over the past month, and our algorithm will help you determine the best cards to craft or disenchant.
We will also try to find out, is there a problem with the new cards? We will establish all the features of the current state of the competitive environment using our method. Here is how it works.
This time, I analyzed almost 1,000 builds using HS Replay and HS Guru, which allowed me to collect a ton of stats on each card. Then the guys loaded all the data into their algorithm, which determined the most useful cards in percentage form. The utility index is based on 5 main criteria and 15 different indicators. The main factor is win rate. Also important criteria are the popularity of the card within the class, flexibility for different strategies, overall popularity in the metagame and usefulness for the wild format.
Based on a large number of criteria, it is extremely difficult to get the maximum result, but some cards almost succeeded.
Before we get to the results, we want to welcome our new sponsor. Gustavo, thank you so much for becoming our patron. Viewers' support allows us to continue to create useful content. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so you don't miss unique videos.
So let's move on to the test results. We often hear claims that new Hearthstone sets contain mostly useless cards. In fact, this is not true. There are very few completely useless cards and Cruise Captain Laura is one of them. As expected, buff did not help the card at all and even numerous experiments with the card completely stopped. Another completely useless card is AFK. Over the last week, experiments with the card have completely stopped, which led to the loss of the last 22% of usefulness. We really hoped that the card would manage to find some kind of scenario for use, but this did not happen.
The warrior's legendary weapon, despite the buff, has lost 17% of its usefulness since the expansion's release and turned out to be almost useless. Over the past 7 days, the card's popularity in the metagame is just above 0. Hunter is desperately trying to find a use for the card within the big beast archetype, but the effectiveness of these experiments, even at low ranks, is negligible. The card looks hopelessly weak.
The utility index of Treasure Hunter Eudora is 22%. The presence of the card in the metagame is almost unnoticeable. Due to the low efficiency, the card continues to lose its usefulness. Despite this, some rogue archetypes still try to find a use for it, but all these experiments are unsuccessful.
As we expected, after the metagame is fully formed, the presence of many cards in the competitive environment will decrease significantly. This also applies to Ryla Sand Sculptor. The card is only suitable for low-impact experiments at low ranks. Overall, only 4% of mages continue to use it.
Karis Cabaret Star has a bit more utility. The card effect has some potential but not within the current strategies. The main advantage is the utility for the wild format within Highlander Shaman.
Sunsapper Linessa is another card that has lost its usefulness since our last review. Despite its promising effect, the effectiveness in matches is extremely low. For standard the card looks hopeless, but in wild this tool is a little more useful. Summoner Dark Marrow's usefulness has increased since release, as the card has found its place in a new version of the old Insanity archetype. This deck is not that influential, but it is quite effective, including at high ranks. Only 9% of Warlocks use the card. The main scenario for its use is opening access to several Death Knight tools. The impact of the card's effect in game situations is not so impressive and this is a significant drawback. This means that new use cases are almost impossible.
Maestra Mask Merchant is losing its usefulness. The card's effect was slightly overrated. Despite its usefulness for several strategies, the card's presence at high ranks is almost unnoticeable. The rogue has been very unlucky with the new legendary tools. After the Lamplighter nerf, the class was left without any new effective ways to play. King Tide still fails to take a confident place in the competitive game, although players continue to actively experiment with usage scenarios and they are not hopeless. The card is used mainly at low ranks and is practically absent at high ones. At the moment, the card is not worth 1600 dust, but if you got it, keep it in your collection at least for a while longer. The mage also had very little luck with the new strategies. The class primarily uses the elemental archetype. A very sad sight.
Narain Soothfancy is losing its popularity and usefulness. You can find a use for the card in 6 archetypes, but their overall win rate is relatively low, although the card can have a positive impact on your chance of winning. In the wild format, the card is used in a more productive deck.
Finally, we see a card that benefits from the buff. Ranger Gilly has moved from the category of cards that are candidates for disenchantment to the category of cards that are worth keeping in your collection. The card has even started to see play at higher ranks, although its performance there is not impressive. There are many scenarios for using the card, but the hopeless situation of the hunter will not allow the card to be higher in the list. The dominant strategy of the class is the old secret archetype.
Party Planner Vona has seen the most dramatic decline, losing 30% of its usefulness after release and completely losing its must-have status, moving into the niche card category. More aggressive Painlock builds are capable of ending the match on turn 5, leaving no room for Vona. Despite this, builds that continue to use the card show good efficiency even at high ranks, but their presence is rapidly declining and the impact of the card's effect on win rate is gradually decreasing. Thus, the Warlock also did not receive any new gameplay scenarios. Sank Azel's utility has been gradually growing and has moved from the category of niche cards to the category of optional ones. The card has significantly increased its presence in hand buff builds, but it is still not a key one. Just a good tool that can increase your chance of winning by a few %. The card is not mandatory for crafting. Paladin also uses mostly old strategies with minimal upgrades.
Incendius also saw a dramatic drop. Elemental strategies are declining in popularity as well as in effectiveness. The elemental synergy has become significantly weaker, but the card's effect is still powerful and has potential. The card is used primarily by shamans. Other classes are also trying to find a use for it, but most of these decks are out of the meta.
The legendary Parrot increased its usefulness by 18% over the month. The card is flexible and finds application in 11 strategies, the vast majority of which are in the shadow. The most popular deck is Zarimi, but even within this strategy, the card is not mandatory. Only 27% of hunters and priests use the card in their decks. The main drawback is the relatively small impact on the metagame. Overall, this is a good optional card, but not a must-have. Mista Vista continues to slowly lose its usefulness despite its insane effect. The main scenario for using the card was within the concierge archetype, but after the nerf, the deck was significantly weakened. Druids refuse to use the card. It is used in only 18% of the class decks. The updated Dragon Druid is too overbearing and leaves no room for new ways to play.
There are not many cards left, but we continue to talk about cards that are rather optional in the current metagame. Grifta is gradually losing its utility, although its result is still high in our rating. The card's effect is not impressive, but players really love this tool. This legendary is part of 22 archetypes in the standard format, but their overall efficiency is below 50%.
But before we continue, we want to make an announcement. In the previous video, we discussed the reasons for the developers' focus on increasing profits, the limitations that prevent them from making changes that players demand, and shared alternative ideas that could potentially allow the team to overcome the monetization crisis.
According to indirect data, the situation is very difficult. The audience has grown and is mostly satisfied with the gameplay, but the game continues to lose money, at least on mobile platforms. The management is betting heavily on selling cosmetics, but at the same time sacrificing integral parts of the game. A few days ago, the biggest update of the store was released. We received a record number of very expensive offers, which indirectly confirms our theory about the problems with monetization. We are very concerned and are trying to check whether management has chosen the optimal strategy in the current situation.
Help us. To do this, watch the previous video and share your opinion about our proposals.
Are you ready to make compromises with Blizzard to save the game?
Finally, we can move on to the key card category. Ham the Hungry is one of the most important cards for Warrior. The card doesn't introduce any new gameplay, but it does allow the Warrior to slightly update its old strategies with Druid's ramp tools. After the balance changes, Warrior has been greatly weakened and no longer has effective strategies. The card will be useful as long as the Druid's tools remain useful. But at the moment it's only a must-have tool for Warrior fans who believe the class will get better. Eliza Goreblade is definitely a must-have tool for the current metagame. This card is very versatile and finds application in different strategies. The card plays key roles in the new Buttons archetype and alternative version of Rainbow strategy. The card is very effective and popular, including at high ranks. Using the card during the match significantly increases your chances of winning. But there are two drawbacks. The card is completely useless for Warlock and has little presence in the wild format. The main advantage is that the card will allow you to get a new gaming experience.
Arana Thrill Seeker is a key tool for Demon Hunter. The card is used in 60% of decks. The main strategy is Pirate. This is the only competitive archetype for the class. Players try to use it in other archetypes, but if you do not like aggro decks, there is no point in crafting it. Another problem is the low played win rate in matches when the card was used, which means the card can have a negative impact on your victory.
The utility index of Buttons has grown to 75%. After the buff, the card has become much more popular for Death Knight. The reduction in cost allowed the card to get out of the niche category. The impact of the effect has also increased. It is a very useful tool in competitive play. The card has no drawbacks other than being useful only within one archetype and having low utility for wild. If you want to get a new gaming experience for competitive play, then you should choose the Death Knight.
Carefree Cookie has become a mega important card for Shaman. In addition to its strong effect, the class gets access to Demon Hunter cards. The card is so good that players are trying to find a use for it in almost every archetype. The downside is the almost complete lack of utility in the wild format. Shaman is very effective and diverse in the current metagame. As expected, the tourists came out on top. Chillin' Vol'jin is another very flexible and versatile tool. But despite this, the card is not 100% mandatory for the class, although most priests use it. The card is most often used in the Zarimi and Overheal strategies, but you can find popular and effective versions of decks that ignore it. The card does not create new strategies, but complements the old ones with hunter cards.
The list of the top 3 cards starts with Gorgonzormu. The legendary Cheese Taster has lost 7% of its usefulness due to its reduced presence in the most popular wild decks. But the card is still extremely flexible and useful in Standard. 42 archetypes find active use for it. It's really cool that this card is free. Patches the Pilot is definitely the best class legendary in the set. The card is actively used in both Demon Hunter and Shaman strategies. This very effective tool has no drawbacks and even finds extremely effective use cases in the wild format. At least the card supports new strategies which allows players to have a different gaming experience.
The first place is unchanged. Marin the Manager continues to be the most useful card in the set and has a huge impact on the competitive environment. Almost 30 archetypes find utilizations for it. The card is very popular at high ranks and demonstrates the highest efficiency. The only problem is that the card is universal for most strategies and is not capable of creating new styles of play.
It's time to take stock and answer the question. What's wrong with the new legendary cards? Perils in Paradise has had an unusual impact on the metagame. The diversity of decks and strategies a month after release is at an all-time high. Never before have we seen so many deck-building ideas. But despite this, most of the new legendary cards are either ineffective, niche or good but optional. The vast majority of cards do not create new ways to play, but simply complement old ones.
The nerf completely killed off the Lamplighter and Concierge archetypes, which were annoying but at least provided a different gaming experience. In return, we got a more viable tourist for the Death Knight. In addition, we still have the aggressive archetypes of the Shaman and Demon Hunter. In general, these are all new ideas that are quite effective for competitions.
Perils of Paradise is a very anomalous set that brought a huge variety and at the same time an almost complete absence of fundamentally new things.
Almost all of the legendaries are conditionally useful, but only a few are truly must-have. Most of the cards were included in old strategies, which made them too strong. The game ends on turn 5 too often. Control archetypes have almost disappeared. The current situation is extremely unusual.
I don't know how to feel about the new set. It's only been a month. I've tried all the new decks and I'm bored of playing the current effective archetypes to climb the ladder.
Dear viewers, what do you think?
Should players continue to invest resources in new legendary cards? Are you going to continue to build your collection of the new expansion?
Share your thoughts in the comments and join the polls in the community tab.
Traditionally, we want to express our boundless gratitude to our sponsors.
Dear friends, your help is invaluable. We will be grateful for any support.
Okay, that's all for today. Thank you for spending this time with us. We really hope that we will have the opportunity to get in touch in the next video.
Take care of yourself.
And never give up.
Job's done.